Now, in my humble opinion, most high-yielding dividend ETFs across the market are more or less trash because the underlying holdings are not holdings that are going to go up over time, in my opinion, and not sustainable. But along with it, a lot of the strategies that these high-yield ETFs utilize are also not sustainable for a portfolio long-term. So in this video, I'm going to make it very simple. I'm going to share with you guys 9 different high-yielding ETFs that I do believe in long-term. Just me personally, I believe in the holdings of every single one of these ETFs, whether it's a basket of single stocks or of course an index, but along with the strategies that every single one of these ETFs offer, I also do believe in. So if you want to see which top 9 ETFs would make my list when it comes to high-yielding ETFs in a market currently where there is a lot of trash to sift through, well, then make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. Now before I share with you guys the first ETF, I did want to also mention that these ETFs are not ranked 1 to 9. These are all randomly going to be placed in the video, so I'm not ranking the first ones we talk about as the best or the least. These are just 9 of the best ETFs in my opinion. Number 1 of 9, the first ETF that I would consider quality because of the underlying holdings, which in this case is Berkshire Hathaway's holdings, is OMA, or the VistaShares Target 15 Berkshire Select Income ETF. Now, when I'm talking about quality ETFs, I want to believe in the underlying holdings. What is this ETF offering exposure to? The core equity exposure for OMA is, of course, some of the largest holdings in Berkshire Hathaway's BRK.B. Now, these are names like Apple stock, names like Berkshire Hathaway itself, names like Coca-Cola, names like American Express, etc., etc. Blue chip companies that have been around for a while, have paid dividends for decades, etc., etc. Now, with that, of course, this ETF utilizes an option strategy, writing call options in order to earn a distribution rate, a targeted rate of 15% per year. Now, because most of the names in BRK.B have a relatively high beta, offer some high implied volatility, I think this is definitely going to be possible, which is why this ETF definitely makes it into the top 9 ETFs in my opinion. Another very, very high quality, higher yielder is going to be jepi. This is the Goldman Sachs NASDAQ 100 Premium Income ETF, which might actually be one of the best NASDAQ 100 high income ETFs across the entire market. Pound for pound, let me know what you guys think of that, but I would consider this one definitely up there, maybe in number 1 spot. Now, this ETF is seeking current income while also maintaining prospects for capital appreciation. This ETF has grown over time since inception, and it's also paid out monthly distributions around 30-40 cents per share per month. Now, this ETF is especially special because it provides equity exposure to the NASDAQ 100 index and dynamically sells call options, allowing for participation with rising markets and potential outperformance in negative to flat markets. So if the NASDAQ trades sideways, great, this ETF is going to be able to offer quite a bit of income generation. But if the NASDAQ moves up very quickly, which historically it has many times, this ETF is also going to see a massive amount of capital appreciation. Again, around 10% yield with this one. This ETF is a very sleep well night ETF in my portfolio, and I wish I had more shares. Another ETF that definitely makes the cut is going to be the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF, SPYI. I've said for a while now this is my favorite ETF as far as high yield ETFs across the entire market, just because I love the way the fund providers utilize the S&P 500. The strategy is definitely on point in order to have this ETF remain pretty stable as far as price return goes, but also be able to pay out around 12% per year. Now, this ETF offers S&P 500 exposure, and implementing a data-driven call option strategy, it offers a ton of income generation. As far as how much income, we're talking around 50 cents per share per month, more or less, with some months a little bit higher or lower. All in all, because I personally am a huge fan of the S&P 500, I do want to have a ton of S&P 500 exposure in my long-term portfolio. The S&P has done amazing long-term. But because this ETF utilizes the S&P through a high-income strategy, this ETF is one of my highest rated ETFs across my entire portfolio. Another super high quality one to look into is Bali, BALI, the iShares Advantage Large Cap Income ETF. This ETF offers large cap income exposure. And once again, like I mentioned earlier during the intro, if you want an ETF to be sustainable long term, the holdings have to match up with that. You can't buy into something that's going to be holding on to junk. And with Bali, for example, we're talking some of the biggest, most important companies in the world. Names like Meta, names like Walmart, names like Microsoft, Nvidia, etc., etc. But then with that, because they utilize an option strategy, this ETF offers around a 10% yield more or less, and is once again just a very overall high quality, higher yielder in my opinion. Another quality high yielder actually has quality in its name is QUSA, the VistaShares Target 15 USA Quality Income ETF. Now, this ETF is awesome because it offers or provides core, large, and mid-cap equity exposure focused on high-quality companies as defined by financial metrics such as high profitability, low earnings, variability, and low leverage. Now, with that, this ETF implements a data-driven option investment strategy in order to hopefully earn that 15% distribution rate target, which so far so good. But again, simply put, when an ETF has strong holdings like this one does, in my opinion, when it has a strong strategy and a solid option strategy on top of that in order to earn a ton of income, I think ETFs like this one as core positions are absolutely amazing. Another great high quality one that actually won Best New Active ETF award this last year is none other than the NEOS NASDAQ 100 High Income ETF, or QQQI. Now, this ETF offers NASDAQ 100 exposure, like you guys know, and then implements a data-driven call option strategy in order to earn a ton of income for investors, around 14-15% yield with this one. Overall, another solid ETF that has a sound strategy, in my opinion, offers exposure to the NASDAQ 100, which is a great high-quality index, and just an overall great core position once again in my portfolio. Now, before we go through the last few ETFs that I would consider some of the highest quality, high yielding ETFs across the entire market, as you guys may or may not know, I go over all these ETFs and other ones in detail on my channel, so check out some other videos if you guys want to see any deep dives, etc., etc. But the next name is one of my favorite S&P 500 high income ETFs, GPIX. This is the Goldman Sachs S&P 500 Premium Income ETF, which offers around an 8% yield, so not the highest amount of income generation, but it also provides a diversified equity exposure to the S&P and then dynamically sells call options, once again allowing some upside if of course the S&P grows, which historically definitely has. Now, what's so cool about ETFs like GPIX is that as more of a dividend-focused, income-focused investor, you can now have the best of both worlds all inside one ETF, having a ton of income exposure, but also a ton of growth exposure too. Two more quality names to go through: iSpy, or the S&P 500 High Income ETF, another ETF that offers S&P 500 exposure, but is also seeking to pretty much target the total returns offered by the S&P. Now, last but not least, because there are also other high income ETFs that did not make this final list, of course, I talk about them all the time on my channel, but jepi is also super high quality, an ETF that offers NASDAQ 100 exposure, but also has paid around 10 or 11% yield since inception, and it has also grown over time along with it. So there we have it, guys. Those are just a few of my favorite higher yielding ETFs that I would consider super high quality because of the holdings and of course the strategies that they utilize. Now, throughout the market, especially these days, there are so many different strategies, so many different ETFs and different underlines, whether it's a single stock, a basket of stocks, or an entire index. So definitely do your research and figure out what matches what you're looking for. But before I go, I do have a question for you guys down below. Throughout the market as of right now, as far as a high yielding ETF goes, what's your number one favorite of all time? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.